Hi everyone, Awesome with Sun Fun Kits. So today we'd like to go over some of the benchmark results that we've been receiving since we released version 4 of our app. And one of the things that we added in version 4 was the ability to do a benchmark test, such as a discharge test of your battery, and get that data so it can be sort of uploaded to our website. And this is useful if you need us to diagnose something, need us to view something, or if you just had some general questions, or would just like to know exactly what's going on with your battery. So this is an example of 300 HP, and we tested this battery was tested to 4,101.95 watt hours, 218 amp hours, and we were able to sort of get some data off of it. Now, normally with a standard shunt, you might be able to get total capacity and maybe potentially even watt hours. But there's some cool things that you can get off of our the built-in BMS that normally is not available, such as sort of how the average temperature raises of the BMS in the battery as the test goes by. So that's a cool little thing that's in there, and you can switch between Celsius and Fahrenheit as needed. As well as you can also get individual cell data of how your tests happen. So each cell you can sort of see what has been generated for each cell. But one very important thing that is allowing us to see this is we can sort of see how closely each of the cells are in comparison to each other. Now, this is very important because really, when it comes down to the capacity of your battery, really depends on the capacity of your cells, and your capacity and your performance is really limited to the weakest cell, because as soon as one cell says I'm done, well then the whole battery is done, because the other cells are just going to have to stop. You can see here these cells are very closely matched. They band very together, they discharge together. Beautiful. That's exactly what we would like to see. This battery is going to stay balanced. It's going to provide many years of use, and you won't ever run into balancing issues because all the cells are matched and they're discharging evenly. So excellent. Now let's look at another 300 HP. This is our demo battery. Probably have close to 50 cycles on it. So let's sort of see what happens to a battery once you have some cycles put on it. So again, a full capacity test was done. The test was done around 60 amp hours. This tested to 310 measured current, and around 4,000 total watt hours. So if we look at the curve again, we can see all the cells are very closely matched. They sort of stay banded together as they go down. Again, that's very good. This battery is going to stay in balance. Customers not, whoever this, even though it's a demonstration model, it's not going to mess up. You can charge it easily stay in balance, and the active balancer is just sort of cherry on the top. It'll take care of any little speaks, pikes, or peaks that you may happen, and make sure the battery stays working. So let's look at some other batteries. This is a 275 HP, testing to 284 amp hours. And let's sort of see what we have in here. And again, the cells nice, evenly matched. They all sort of stay together throughout the discharge curve. This discharge was done around 52 or so amps. So again, nice, reasonable discharge, and the cells stay in capacity. They stay very close to each other. Very good. Now let's look at some kits. Now this is a kit where a customer built it together, and they did buy the cells from us. So these are the LF280K cells. Now the LF280K cells will really rank to what the stated of the battery is. So if it states 280 amp hours at 3.2 volts, that's probably what you're going to get. And in this case, we can see the BMS has about 51 watts lost. The 150 will you lose about 150 watt hours, and the 180 you're going to lose about 80 to 85 watt hours. So once you take those into account, you end up with around 283 amp hours actual capacity. But let's look at the cells. Again, we see the cells very good. Little bit of peak on cell 3, not too bad. I think it's manageable. Potentially, maybe an installation issue could have happened. Maybe the one of the terminals that is attached to cell number 3 is not perfectly clean. But again, overall, still fairly decent. I would say this would be this would be just fine. Let's look at another test from a customer. Again, another set. You know, with the 150 amp BMS and LF280K cells. Again, very similar, 278. is what they're getting. And in this case, actually, the nominal capacity 284 because the nominal voltage is a little higher. And when you do the nominal capacity at 12.8, taking the BMS losses out of the equation, it's actually about a 284 amp hour test for this battery. But again, let's look at the cells. Pretty good, coming down nice and easy. The banding is very, very tight. Yeah, so again, this is a battery that's going to stay in sync for a long time. I think this is going to be excellent. They're going to have a very good, result, and should be quite happy. Now let's try one with the REPT 280 cells. And this is probably the cell that we're going to start carrying more over the 280K. It tends to test a little higher. People are happy. They like seeing these higher amp hour numbers. Even though the watt hours is not that much better, and you're maybe looking at another 60 to 80 watt hours over the 280K. The fact that it has a high amp hour number, people seem to be happy with it. So we're going to do what the market says and sort of pivot to this. But again, we can see this test, and this test was done at 54 amp hours. 52 amp hours discharge, or 52 amp discharge, and we can see the cells very nicely, tightly banded. They all come down around the same, so extremely good. You can sort of see that nice gradual discharge. Exactly what we want to see. These things are going to stay in balance and provide many, many years of good service. Now, unfortunately, here's a customer that bought their own cells, bought our kit, which is fine. Majority of our kits are sold without cells, so this is perfectly acceptable. Now, initially, when you see this result, most people will be like, yes, very good. I've got good amp hour rating, I got good watt hour rating. This is amazing. And for the price. And initially, if that's all you see, you would say the same thing too. But let's sort of look at what happened at the cell level. Oh, you can clearly see something is going on here. There's clearly more power left in cell 1, 2, and 3, but cell 4 sort of caused this battery to go to low voltage cutoff before. Now, this may not necessarily be a bad thing, but there is a clear division around 276 minutes into the test. There's clearly a division between cell 4 and the other ones. And even though in the beginning of the test they all sort of came down neatly, because they're mismatched, you sort of have to reconfigure this battery. Now, if we look at the cell amp hours, we can sort of see that the issue happened around 276, which really means that you should not discharge this battery beyond 260 amp hours. If you do, you are going to have quite a significant amp hour difference. So what would initially have seen as a really nice 280 amp hour battery really is more of a 260 amp hour battery. And if you go beyond that, you will start having quite a bit of difference in terms of the voltages and how cells peak and whatnot. Still not the end of the world, but unfortunately, this is something that people have a hard time understanding. Your battery is only as good as your weakest cell. So, when you're buying grade B, unfortunately, this is something we can see. And even though these cells are very nice, even for grade B, they're performing, the fact that one cell is low means all the other cells are sort of going to be limited to that discharge level. All right, well, that was a little bit about that. Some of the test results that we've been getting, we've gotten about 120 so far. It does take a little long to do this test, but I think as we get more information, we'll be able to have a better understanding of what's going on. And then, this should help, everybody involved. All right, well, I'll see you guys in the next video. And if we don't post another video before the new year, Happy New Year, and we'll see you guys in 2023. Thanks.